In this Affinity Designer tutorial, you'll learn all about the pencil tool. We'll go from the basics all the way up to pressure profiles, vector inking, and freehand drawing. Let's get into it. Okay, let's get into this. So the pencil tool is over here on the left-hand side. You'll see the keyboard shortcut is N, so you can click that on your keyboard if you want. So when I select the pencil tool, it gives me these options in the context toolbar. And all of these options relate to the pencil tool. So if I change anything up here, it will change how the pencil tool behaves. I'm not going to change anything just yet. I just want to put pencil to paper. So what I'm going to do is just draw out some kind of wave shape like this. And if we go and have a look at it, we can see, number one, it's very wonky. It looks very bad. Maybe I did that on purpose. Maybe I didn't. And the other thing is that it's a black skinny outline. So how do we change the width of this outline? Well, you can head up here to width, top left, and just drag this up until you're happy with the thickness. And also to note this width of this outline, an outline is actually called a stroke in Affinity Designer. So if you head on up to stroke tab up here, you see the width is there again, and it's the same thing. You just drag it up and down. So stroke refers to the outline, basically. So you can change the stroke from the left and the right. Okay, we can also change the color of this stroke, and you can do it from the top left, and the color tab appears, and then you just choose the color you want. So I'll just choose some kind of like orange color like that. And the other place you can do it is over on the colors tab, just there. But just note that on the colors tab, there is a donut, and that means it's the stroke it's referring to, the outline. And this circle here means the fill. It's basically all the space within the outline. So if I just went ahead and chose some kind of fill color, you can see there it is, there's the fill. But we don't need that right now, so I'm just going to click on set fill to none. So maybe this is the style you're going for. Not perfect, it's a little bit wonky, like a kid's drawing, but maybe it isn't. Maybe you want more elegant lines for a wave, smooth lines, and maybe you wanted to get a nice kind of edge here, a nice peak. So in order to do that, you would use the stabilizer. So I'm going to delete this one. We're going to go up to stabilizer, select that, and I'm just going to show you the first option here. It's called rope mode. It says the brush is dragged as though it is attached with a rope, useful for smooth sections with sharp corners. So it says sharp corners. That's what I wanted as well. Smooth sections, sharp corners. Excellent. So that's rope mode. And over here, you can choose the rope length. I'm just going to leave it as it is for now. And we'll try and draw that wave again. So this is the same wave that I was drawing in my pen and node tool tutorial, if you haven't checked that out. Okay, let's go for it. So I'm going to click, and you can see there's like a little red rope there. So I'm going to drag that along and see how it performs. So I can drag around. Remember about the sharp corners? See, this rope mode is allowing me to kind of decide at this point where I should go. So I can go from around here, drag it around and up. So that looks a lot better, doesn't it? And it allowed me to get this nice peak in there, this sharp peak. So I'll just draw that out again so you can see how the rope mode actually works when it's at its full length. You can see it really gives you a lot of rope there. So you can get these really nice smooth lines. So that's rope mode, good for sharp corners and smooth rounded designs. So the next option instead of rope mode is window mode. It says the input positions are averaged over a flexible window, produces a smooth flowing output. Okay, so this one probably isn't best for the wave, and let's try it out. Okay, so I'm going to drag it along, and I will note as I'm doing this, it reacts more like a rubber band. It didn't quite do a good job over here, not too bad, but basically when I move along, if I go really fast, it acts like a rubber band. So this wouldn't be good for something like this, but it might be better for smooth flowing lines like it said. So let's draw some of those. So for this, it's working really well. If I try to do the same thing with the rope mode, I mean, it is achievable, but you could just try. Remember, it's on its full length now. You see, it's kind of hard to get that smooth edge there. I mean, you could bring down the length a little bit and try again. Go wider, but it's just not as easy. So there's the two modes that you can use under Stabiliser. So let's quickly look at use fill. So if I click on use fill and let's draw that wave out again. I'll just draw a wave and maybe end it there. Okay, so no fill is there, and you're probably wondering why is that happening? Well, you have to choose your fill. So if you go up to the colors tab, see stroke is currently selected. Let's choose a different color for that. Maybe we'll go for a black one for now. And then let's go to the fill, which is this one here, and choose some kind of blue color. You can see now that there is a fill in there. So any other shape that I draw will also have a fill, like so. But notice that it's not closing, is it? Everything is still open. There's this kind of fill, but there's no outline around it. Well, what you do, let me delete these. You click on auto close as well. And just remember, you don't have to have a fill to use auto close, but let's try and draw the wave again. So here we go. Wave is coming down, around, and let's say I wanted to end it there. If I let go, see, it just automatically closes and it completes the shape. Okay, I'm going to delete this one. Now let's have a look at Sculpt Mode. So I'm going to select Sculpt Mode, and I'm just going to turn off Use Fill and Auto Close. And using the pencil tool, sometimes when you're drawing, you might stop. Like here. Let's say I stop here, and now I go back and I want to continue drawing with the pencil tool. Well, if I hover over this node, you'll see there's a little plus. And if I click down and then continue it along, you can't see the stroke at the moment, but when I finished, you will. And there we go. See, it's just one layer in the layers panel. Whereas if I didn't have that on, keep your eye on the layer panel. I'll just delete that one. If I didn't use Sculpt Mode, it would go something like this. Okay, I want to continue. If I click on there, see that plus sign wasn't there, and I draw it. Now they're two separate pieces. You see in the layers panel, there's two separate ones. Okay, I'll go ahead and delete them. I'll have some more examples after this basics is done, but basically you might be wondering what keep selected does. So I'm just going to show you. So let's draw out that wave again. And when I let go, keep selected is on. It means this last shape that you drew is still selected. And that allows us to use Sculpt Mode. So we can hover over that node, click, and continue along that shape. However, if I delete it and I uncheck keep selected, and I draw out this line again, when I let go, it's no longer selected. So we won't be able to continue to sculpt it, but maybe this is handy if you're just drawing lots of disconnected layers, just like this. Okay, these options are some of the ones that I think you probably want to know. The controller options. If you click on it, right now it's set to none. There's many options here. This is all about pressure sensitivity. So let me just draw out using the none, which we've done countless times in this tutorial. So the line thickness, the stroke, is the same all the way around. Bit boring, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. If you don't, then you can use one of these other options here. So let's go up the list. So velocity is next. So this one will change the thickness of the stroke based on speed of your drawing. Better for people who use a mouse rather than a pressure sensitive input like a graphics tablet or even a more modern trackpad on your computer. Velocity is selected. Let me just use that. So if I go slow here and then I go fast this way, you see it gets thicker. So I'll just do that again. Slow, fast, and I'll draw something a little bit more elegant like that. So I do, you can see it working, gets thinner and thicker. So that's velocity. Okay, let's try pressure. This one is pretty obvious. Basically, if you have a pressure sensitive input like a graphics tablet, I'm on one right now, I'm using a Wacom. So if I just press lightly like that, it's a very thin line, and as I start pressing harder, it starts getting thicker like that. So let's draw that same thing again. So I will go up and I'll go thicker as I go down. Light as I go up, thick as I go down. So it works really well, the pressure. And the next one on the list is automatic. I will do the same thing again. Basically, automatic will work out what you're using and adjust to that. So right now I'm using a graphics tablet. Again, I will do the same thing again. So up, and I'm just applying pressure on the way down and light on the way up. Now let me switch over to my trackpad on my Mac. So I'll do the same thing again. So I'll go up, light, well, I'll go down, light, and then up. I see I got to press, God, it's really getting thin. It's a very different experience using the trackpad than it is the graphics tablet, but it worked it out automatically. And then brush defaults. Let me just delete these ones. Brush defaults, it's all based on whatever brush you're using, what the default pressure profile is. Let's say I head on over to our brushes here, and I just select one of these. This is in the basic one that everybody has. So I'll just select this one here. If I double click it, it will bring us through to these options. And you see here, it says pressure down here. If I click on this little box, this is the pressure profile. This is what it looks like. So if I press close on that, and let's say I just select this one and start drawing, it will use that pressure sensitivity to work out how it should be based on its default pressure profile. Moving on. Now I'm going to show you my favorite thing about the pencil tool, and that is the pressure profiles, and they come in really handy. And I'll show you why. I'll show you a problem and a solution. So if I head to the pencil tool and I click on controller and pressure, like we did before, and I just come in here and I'm trying to draw out something that's really elegant and nice, but manually I might make mistakes, some errors. You see, this isn't looking too good. It's a bit jagged and I can't rely on my hands, let's say. So I can delete that and create a pressure profile. So what you want to do is go up to controller and click on none. Next thing you want to do is grab your stroke panel. Well, I'll just bring it out actually so I can illustrate it a little bit better. So I've got my stroke panel here, and the first thing I'm going to do is just draw out a straight line. So I'm just going to hold down Shift, click and drag about that long, just so I can show you how this works. So we're in the stroke panel, there's the pressure. I'm going to click on that, and this is our pressure graph. So the left side of this is a node and this is a node. They kind of dictate what's going to happen with this node and this node. I'll just show you how it works. I'll just click on one of them, and both of them seem to move together, and I can make it thicker and thinner. Okay, great. If I click on one of them, just click once, you see this is totally blue, this is totally white. That means this is selected. So I can just drag that one down, and you can see what's happening to the left side of that line. It's going thinner. So basically, if you drag it down, it's thin. If you drag it up, it's thick. So we can do that to the other side as well. So once you click on that one, it reverts to it working like this. So a quick way to drag just one side down is to hold down Option or Alt on the keyboard, click, and just drag it down like that. So if you like this and say you want to draw with the pencil tool, just with this style, you can just click on Save Profile, so you can save it for later. You can switch between the different profiles you create. Okay, let's see what else it can do. So if I drag this up, let's create another node. So you can just click in the middle somewhere, and then just click on the sides, and just drag those nodes down. And now you can see what's happening. It's thick in the middle, just like this is thick in the middle, and skinny on the sides. So I like that, so I'll save that profile too. We'll make one more. Let's say I don't want it to fall off so sharp like that. I could just create more nodes here. It'll look better when it's a longer line. So let's say I like this. I'll save that profile too. So now I've got all the profiles that I want to work with. Let's create something. I'll drag my stroke panel back in for now, and I'll delete this line. Okay, let me make something, some kind of wavy shape like that. And I want it to start off thicker at the bottom and thin at the top. So I'll go to my pressure profiles and I'll click on that one there. Okay, that looks good. I don't want it to be that skinny at the top. Maybe because it's been stretched out along the line, it's skinnier. So I just go to the pressure profile and I can change it and adapt it. So maybe something like this. Okay, that's great. I click on the pencil tool again, and let's say I want to add something to this. So I'll just click and drag around like that. Remember, if you make any mistakes like this, where it didn't quite meet it, you can either hold down Command and then it reverts to the node tool and just drag that across a little bit so it kind of blends in. Or you can go to the pressure profile and just drag the thick end down a little bit. Okay, let's do another thing. Let me create one that spirals around like this. So I'll just click and drag and it will spiral around nicely. And you can see there's no kind of user errors going on here. It's all perfectly smooth. And this can be great for, I guess, artwork like this. Let's try a different pressure profile. So I'll just go ahead and draw this line out like that. I'll go to my pressure profile and maybe I choose this one, or the skinnier one actually is better. And I'll just keep adding to the design. Maybe I want that to be a little bit thinner. That's fine. We can either bring down the width here in the stroke panel, or you can go further in and play around with the pressure profile here. I'll also add that if you use the move tool, you can select any of the shapes you've already drawn out and you can change them. So right now that one's selected, I go to pressure profile and I can just cycle through which ones I think might be better. So you can see how it's changing. Here's another example of where you might use your saved profile pressure graph. So let's say I've got this one selected, I've got the pencil tool. Maybe I just want to add something like this to the flower to give it that extra detail. Okay, in this final example, we're going to use what we've learned to trace around a stock image we're going to find on a stock photography website. So if you're with me, if you're following along, head on up to Window, go to Stock, click on that. And then this window appears, click here under Pixabay and just type in WIG, W-I-G, and just press return. And just keep cycling down until you see this image here. Vicar Glitter, big shout out to you for this image, thank you. And obviously it's quite big right now, so let's resize it. I'm going to press Command, Shift, click and drag, maybe about here. Okay, that's great. Now I'm going to bring down the opacity in the layers just so it's not so bright. Maybe somewhere like that will do. And I'm going to lock this layer so I don't disturb it. So I'm going to press Command and L to lock it. You can see the little padlock is there. I can toggle that on and off just by clicking on the padlock. Okay, I will close the stock tab. And now we're going to select our pencil tool and we're going to draw our line. So I'm just going to draw out a test line first and see how thick that is. Maybe I could make that slightly thicker. So I'll just bring that up slightly. Yeah, I will try that for now. And I will click on our pressure. Remember in the stroke tab, we go on pressure and then we click on one of these. So I will click on this pressure profile here. So we've got a nice sharp edge there. Okay, I'm going to delete that and now we'll start. So pencil tool selected. I'm just going to trace the outline like this and you can do the same. Remember, if it's not quite working for you, like up here didn't work, you can always increase the window. You can change it to rope mode as well if you want. In fact, I will change it to rope mode to see what that's like. So delete. Yeah, that's working a lot better for me, so I'll stick with this. Okay, so I've got my first outline. I'm going to go around the whole thing and basically using this profile. And for the eyelashes, I'm going to use this profile, the one where it's just thick one end, thin the other end. And the only things I will change are the width sometimes if it doesn't quite fit. Everything that I've shown you in this tutorial. So yeah, let's see how you get on. And if you do end up making this, feel free to share it with me on X or TikTok. I don't really use Instagram too much these days, but yeah, go ahead. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead with it. I'll speed it up and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, I decided to stop it there because mainly I wanted to use it for the hair, maybe a little bit of the face. I was just using basically one pressure profile for all of the hair, and it was this one here. You remember this one we made? And for the skinnier parts, I just brought down the width slightly to draw these. And for the eyelashes, I just used thick one end, thin the other end, this one here. And basically did that all around. For the eyes, this circle, I just literally used the ellipse tool and I applied the pressure profile to it. Okay, that's it for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. Get involved in the comment section because there are other subscribers answering questions, which is great. So get involved and I will see you there. Cheers.